Welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone, and we are week 2 now of the actual season. We've played 3 competitive matches, 2 in the league, 1 in the cup. Been a decent start, I would say, to Russell Martin's time as Swansea City boss. So I got Lee with me again today, just the 2 of us.
Hello.
But I'm sure we'll have a little bit more company in the coming weeks. But how have you been this week?
Yeah, not bad. It's been good. We had Saturday, Tuesday game. Saturday, we got another one coming Tuesday. It's all coming thick and fast. Football's well and truly back up and running now. So it's nice
Shame
to,
we couldn't actually watch the game on Tuesday, wasn't it? But I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
talk about that later.
Yeah, it was annoying.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Apart from that though, nothing really to report this week. Love Island's dialing down a bit.
Hey, none of that now. None of that. People don't want to hear Love Island.
I think Kaz and Tyler might win it. I got a feeling that's my prediction.
Well, there we are. Call him out if he's wrong, guys. But I haven't got a clue where they are, to be honest. Good week ahead though. Another 2 games, but actually Tuesday and Friday, isn't it? So 2 more night games. Yeah. Bit weird because we had a 8 o'clock Saturday night, and then you got the 2 midweek night games. It's like, I don't know if that's planned the best. It could have been planned, especially Bristol City on Friday. But we'll get to that later on. Before we get into the video, then, just a little bit of sort of housekeeping stuff, if you like. So, just in case you are new here and you don't know what we do, so we just kind of like a podcast or discussion channel for Swansea City mainly as a football team. So obviously we follow them through the season, but we also discuss some of the championship in general, because that's the league the team is in currently. And then we do podcasts aside from the weekly videos as well, where we just want to talk about football stuff in general and have discussions and go in that sort of direction. So if you like that sort of content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It does help us help support us with our growth. We're aiming to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's like our first main goal, because that opens more opportunities then going forward where we can continue to improve the channel in the future. And if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like, because that helps more people see each video. And if you'd like to listen to us and not necessarily watch, say you're in the car or whatever, you can find us on Spotify. Just type in Swans Cast and it should come up. We've also just recently launched a page on Buy Me a Coffee, which is just somewhere that if anyone does want to help us out, you can check that out, and it's up to you, but we'll never ask anyone to do more than just watch the videos. That's all we're doing this as a hobby basically, but constantly want to improve, so you can check that out if you'd like. And also, if you'd like to get involved on FanHub, we've got some codes which I do tweet out. There might be some in the description of the video, but they do have a certain amount of uses, so I always check the Twitter to make sure you get the most recent code if you want to skip the queue. Sign up to FanHub, that's where we do all of our team predictions. You can watch a lot of different content for every club in the league there, and there's a couple of other activities as well. Got league tables that you can compete against the other Swansea fans to see who's doing the best. I think I'm smashing you at the moment, Lee.
My prediction yesterday, he's keeping us on his toes with the prediction, because he always throws a spanner in the works. I'm sort of steady on about 7 or 8 out of 11 every week.
Yeah, I think I had 3 wrong yesterday, but then a bit weird having like man in centre back and stuff, but that's what we'll go on to talk about now. So let's just get into the verdict then, the first section of the weekly show we're going to do. So the verdict is where we just look about what happened in last week in terms of the games. So we had 2 games to talk about this week. So if we start off with the cup tie on Tuesday, briefly. So we had Readin 0, Swansea 3. What did you make of that game?
Yeah, good. I mean, I know you can say we won by the opposition. I know Reading made loads of changes and they basically played a young squad, but definitely a confidence booster for us, I think, having lost on Saturday and then picking up a good 3-0 win, whoever you're playing, it's good for the confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, I did have a look at Reading's.
Pretty well.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say I did have a look at Reading's team, and obviously they had Puskas that started. I don't know whether he's maybe coming back from an injury or something. Or if he's just not in the team at the moment, needs a bit of a run out. The rest of them pretty much was their like under 23/under 18 squad.
Yeah,
they were very young, a very young team.
Yeah,
but we did discuss, I think, last time they've got issues with they can't get players in. They're under some sort of transfer embargo, so they're struggling.
Yeah, I think so. But again, it's good for a run out, especially early on. And 'cause Martin hasn't been here that long, has he? So he just needed game time. Just the more games you can get under your belt at the moment, the better. And I know it's obviously, like we said, it's tough now because it's been Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. But it's great for us because we got new players coming in. Probably we'll have some more as well before the window shuts.
Yeah,
he's trying to play a different style, so the more games they can get under their belt, the better, really. And it just gives confidence to players. Like I know, by I didn't see all of the game, obviously, but by all accounts, like Danda played well, so good for his confidence. Perot scored as well, so that's good.
Do you want to say anything more about Danda?
Nope. Not yet.
I know how much you love him. Yeah, no.
If he scores 5 league goals this season, then I'll be surprised. So we'll keep a count on that.
Okay, year to year. So we'll keep tabs on that. Yeah, I think there's a couple of changes to the squad for the Reading game for us. So we had Perot coming in. Obviously, we were a bit confused why he wasn't in the squad for the Blackburn game. Got told that he would have a chance, and he got a goal at the end of the day. Had a decent rating as well on SofaScore, which is what we use to look at a lot of the stats and stuff. A little bit of a surprise in terms of the selection was Latabodia playing right back. I didn't realise that he could cover that position. Say right wing back, I should say. And then a back three of Cabango, Norton and Brandon Cooper. It was nice to see Brandon Cooper coming in, making a start. Other than that, Daniel Williams getting a run out in the centre midfield, starting there alongside Grimes and, like you said, Jan Danda and Morgan Whittaker. And then we also got to see Kyle Joseph coming on for his competitive debut off the bench, and Lincoln McFadden as well. So a couple more youth players getting involved, which is always good to see. I don't know how much, and I think he addressed this in one of his conferences or interviews. He doesn't I don't know how much more or how many more opportunities some of the youth will get. I'm sure some will, but we're probably giving a little bit more out now because we don't have the players. And I think he said when he gets some of the players in that he wants, maybe they wouldn't have as many opportunities. Like yesterday's match was like half full of youth, wasn't it, on the bench?
Yeah.
So
especially in defence, wasn't it? We were really struggling yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, Readin then, obviously they played basically a very young team, under 18 team, more or less, and it was a 3-0 win for us, a comfortable run out. But at the same time, we didn't have any friendlies or anything under Russell Martin, so
exactly.
I'm not saying it's an easy match, but having something that's like, it's not a first team against a first team, maybe it was something helpful for implementing the style of play, getting his ideas across, seeing how the players perform on the pitch on a match day, stuff like that. So if you look at the actual game, another game we had over 70% possessions, we had 73. We actually had 17 shots and 9 on target. So, granted, like what we said about the opposition, but one of the criticisms so far of Russell Martin's style has been his lack of creativity, not getting much shots and stuff like that. It shows that the style can provide that. It's just if we can create those opportunities against better opposition is the question.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, that'll come though eventually. I think he said yesterday, didn't he? You've got to start. He wants to start playing from the back first, doesn't he? That's his priority at the moment. So
yeah, well, you get the style down, and then
and then you fix the rest.
The vision comes. Maybe you take a little bit more risk sometimes with some of the passes through the lines, and that opens up teams a bit more. Then stuff like that. 674 passes to 224 says it all. Says a lot, that does, with 90% accuracy as well. So very impressive numbers, to say the least.
It's mad. In all fairness to him, it's mad how much has changed in just 3 games, really. Considering the time he's been in there, like how much he's been able to change in that short space of time. Like the passing stats, will come on to yesterday's game as well, but the passing stats in all games so far have been ridiculous. Yeah, and I think I'm right in saying that we've got the most passes in the championship so far. From the 2 games,
I'd imagine I believe we were top after yesterday. Specifically just yesterday, and then got a feeling we were one or two last week as well. So combined, I'd imagine that we were up there.
Yeah, so it's incredible that he's managed to do that so quickly with a makeshift team as well.
Yeah, So yesterday we were top with 527, QPR second with 488. And 88% accuracy yesterday put us top of the championship there as well. But that's just for game week 2. If anyone does like looking at stuff like that, there's a good account on Twitter that I did retweet, EFL Stats, where they look into a lot of these things and share the data. So check them out, I guess. I mean, yeah, good information. But yeah, there's not really too much to say on Readin. I think we didn't really get to watch the game. We can only see the highlights, the same as everyone else, unless you went up to the match. I'm sure you all enjoyed that experience. But like you already mentioned, I think Jan Dando was one of the standouts. I'm surprised we didn't see more of him yesterday, which we will come on to. And I think the other big takeaway here was Joel Perreault. Looks like he might have worked if there was any issues or doubts, maybe they're not so much anymore because he was on the bench yesterday. And Latibeaudiere right back as well, another big takeaway.
Yeah. And Perreault, did you see his Messi run when he scored? He picked it up on halfway, didn't he? Yeah. So he looks like it could be. And we say about scoring goals, if he gets fit, he may be the answer. He gets a run of games.
I've seen some people comparing him to Michu.
Yeah.
But early to tell on that one. That's
won't get that excited yet.
Big boots to fill.
Yeah. It's a big call.
Yeah, but let's move on to Sheffield United, because I think it's a bit easier to talk about it. We both watched the game. We were both there. So first of all, what was it like to actually be back at the Liberty Stadium? Not a full crowd, but decent size.
I gotta be honest. I was in work on Friday, and I just couldn't contemplate that we were going back, because what was it, like a year and a half from the West Brom game that was 0-0. I know some people got to go to the Barnsley home leg as well, and I went to Wembley myself, but having a proper sort of a full-ish crowd for a league game, it was class. And I forgot how much I did actually miss it, because it's been so long, you kind of forget, don't you? But when I got there and got in the ground and outside the ground, and obviously we tend to do a bit of a pub crawl down to the stadium as well, and the pubs are full and Swan shirts everywhere. Is class just to get back in there and seeing faces that you haven't seen for so long as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I only went because you got me in. Basically, there was no tickets at one point in the week, but some came available. So it was great to be back. Good atmosphere, very rowdy in parts, which I guess is to be expected after the break. But
yeah, I think it's definitely worse at the moment. It's definitely a bit more spicy because it's been so long. I think there's a lot of things kept being locked up for a year and a half.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see that a lot this season.
Nothing a bit weird though in terms of the match day experience. It's not quite back to normal. We didn't have any, you couldn't get anything at half time, no refreshments, couldn't go and have a drink at half time. There's definitely a missed opportunity for a pub by the Liberty as well. Harvester queue was insane. And you just got that empty building next door, so if anyone's got a bit of money they want to invest, definitely a good opportunity there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, killing there.
Yeah. But into the game then. So team selection. And what we mentioned Latibeaudiere in the last game, but he kept his slot right wing back. Surprisingly, I'm not sure the details. Did he discuss it after the match? Are you aware about Bennett and Norton not being?
No, I haven't seen why they were both out of the squad. I'm not sure.
I've seen bits on Twitter that they might have both had a knock, but nothing confirmed or concrete to sort of discuss. And
that's something he's going to have to address though with those two, because it was the same last season. They can't play.
I don't think Norton was as bad, but
but Norton played on Tuesday as well, didn't he? Saturday and Tuesday, and then he was out completely from the squad yesterday. And Bennett played last Saturday, and he's out completely again from the squad.
Yeah,
today.
Bennett is older than Norton, isn't he? As I know, I think he's 34, maybe.
Yeah, something like that, isn't he?
Anyway, I don't know. We'll talk about performances later, but he might struggle to get back into the team. So we had Rhian Manning starting centre back with Brandon Cooper and Ben Cabango. So Brandon Cooper had a good game against Readin, kept his place. He moved into the middle of the defence though, which was interesting because the least experienced.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Cabango would go there, but then at the same time, if in terms of being the centre back, but it's he wants to play from the back, so he probably wants to put someone more comfortable with the ball at his feet. And I think Cooper showed that he's very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Knows where to play a pass, and
I thought he was class yesterday, Brandon Cooper. I thought, putting him in the most vulnerable position as well, especially if they want to play the way that they're trying to play in the middle of the three. I thought it's going to be hard for him, especially with I thought like you've got like Brewster's pace and McGoldrick looked lively as well. But I thought he was class yesterday, and like you said, I think Bennett might struggle to get back in. This could be his breakout season. To be fair, Brandon Cooper, I thought he was class. His main.
Well, he was unlucky when he got injured after we recorded from Newport in January, wasn't he? So.
Yeah, and as you said, he definitely looks comfortable with the ball at his feet, more so than Cabango does.
Yeah, so I did tweet about the two of them. Well, more about Cooper. I just said, like, if you were a neutral or you didn't have any sort of knowledge prior to the match and somebody told you one of the centre-backs was making their first league start, I think you would have probably picked Cabango over Cooper, which was credit to the job that he did last night. I thought Cabango had he was definitely the poorest out of them. He did his defending well, where his strengths are, like in the box, good heading. There was some time he did hold up Brewster once or twice, but then Brewster also got past him once or twice, which arguably you'd expect with his pace advantage. But I think we'll talk about the style of play a bit more in a minute, but there's stuff I just want to discuss with Cabango and this style of play, and maybe there's work to do. It's probably the best way to put it. Yeah,
it's going to take time, isn't it? Because obviously he played a lot last year under Cooper, so there's a bit that he's got to. There's a lot that he's got to change his game, isn't there? So maybe it'll take time, as it will for a lot of them, I think. But I mean, he wasn't awful, was he? But I think you can definitely tell he's not as comfortable with the ball at his feet as some of the others.
Yeah, exactly. So Jake Bidwell started left again, as probably expected, and Bender was in goals. Looks like I don't know if Hamer's still got COVID or still suffering or recovering, but Lewis Webb was on the bench. So, yeah, I guess as a goalkeeper, that's the worst time that you can get something like that. Like, start of the season, number 1 jersey was up for grabs, new manager comes in, and he's not available. He's probably gutted because he's probably going. I would imagine he's just going to stick with Bender now. Whether he made that decision anyway, we'll never know. But I think Bender's done well. So yeah, it's tough on Hamer really. But it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, so we had Matt Grimes starting in midfield, which is again a positive sign with all the transfer rumours linked around him, alongside Flynn Downs, who we signed from Ipswich in the last week, making his debut. Jamie Patterson and Liam Cullen. I would imagine. What do we call them? Do you call them like wide attacking midfielders rather than wingers? Is that what the position is that they're playing?
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange setup yesterday, wasn't it? We sort of had Lowe through the middle with Patterson and Cullen just behind them, but not very wide, just behind them. You could see sometimes what they were trying to do, where Lowe was coming deep, and those two were sort of trying to run in behind on some occasions.
It's like they're both central attacking midfielders, but one is left and one is right.
It was a strange setup, to be fair.
I found it weird that Cullen was playing that role and Lowe was forward, rather than maybe Lowe being behind Cullen. But I'm sure there's a reason for it. I trust Russell Martin knows what he's doing.
It's the same with Latibodia, though. You'd think like you'd play Manning on the wing and play Latibodia centre half rather than having him on the wing.
But even
it worked. It worked.
Even in this setup, like in the past, Bidwell has gone centre back and Manning will go left.
Yeah. But he's obviously Manning had man of the match yesterday from Sky, didn't he? And I thought he was good, and he did play well in that back three.
Yeah, Manning did have a really good game. So the game ended 0-0. So there's not any goals to talk about.
I'm dying for a goal, because the last game at the stadium before COVID was 0-0 against West Brom. I went to the playoff final, we didn't score, and we didn't score yesterday. We're just gasping to celebrate a goal at the stadium again.
There were a few nervy moments, though, I think, that we can talk about in terms of like highlights or opportunities or like standout moments in the game. So the first one was Bender on the ball. I think one of the defenders has played it back to him, and he needs to either, if you're playing this certain way, you need to move it on first time, I think, in this situation. But he takes a touch, he takes another touch, and McGoldrick is running in and manages to block the pass that eventually came. I think it ended up going out for a corner, but it was like very close to the goal. This block could have ended up a lot worse. So got away with one, but at the same time, or you got to remember, and Russell Martin addressed this last week after he gave the penalty away. He's never going to criticize them for playing the way that he wants them to and doing what he's asking of them. So, as much as Bender maybe needs to think a little bit more, act a bit quicker in that situation, which I'm sure he will. It's his second start in the league.
He said the same yesterday after the game as well, Russell Martin. He said, I think one of the Sky pundits said that when the game was on, they're sort of around the dugout area.
Yeah.
And they said, like, when like Bender was making a mistake or stuff like that, like the bench were not, no criticism. They were calm. They were fine. And Russell Martin said, well, yeah, that's, I'm not going to criticise him because that's the way I want him to play. Like, the confidence has got to come from the coaching staff, really, isn't it? And that's exactly. Sort of getting onto the pitch to him. So I quite like it. I do.
No,
we've been lucky not to we did technically concede from a mistake to me with the penalty last week, but we didn't yesterday. There was a few nervy moments, but I'm quite happy that he's going to persist with it.
Yeah, like compared to Blackburn, there was less nervy moments playing over the back. Blackburn had about 8 shots or something on target, or maybe not all on target, but 8 to 10 shots where they took the possession off us, counter-attacked and had a chance. I said that start last week where 6 of Bender's saves were within 10 seconds of us losing possession, but that didn't happen as much yesterday. So there was this one moment I was a bit nervy, but it's definitely progression. And I think what's important to remember, and the only reason I brought it up really was because, it's not necessarily always the easiest to watch when stuff like that happens, and it is nervy, and sometimes you think in your head like, oh, maybe we do need to just clear our lines in situations like that, and time and a place and all that sort of thing, which is fine if that's what you think, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. That's everyone sees the game a different way, but the point is the manager's asking him to do these things, to play this way, to take them risks, and when he does make a mistake, it's because he's doing what the manager's asked. Like, he's learning to do it. What I mean is, it's not like it's him necessarily doing bad decision making, because the manager doesn't want him to hoof it upfield. So when he does get closed down, that's the instructions he's being told, is to play it out from the back. So not to jump on necessarily, like in the future, if this happens and it leads to a goal, we shouldn't be jumping on Bender's back necessarily, because that's literally what they're being told to do, isn't it? And that's a question then, is where, like, is that right from Martin to say, like, all the time we're playing it out from the back, or should he be saying, when you're that much under pressure, just get rid of it? That's a different question then. I don't think it's necessarily like, right, Bender should have got rid of that. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but like, sometimes, like the one where McGoldrick slides in and tackles him, like, he has got Cabango there to get it out quicker. But what I noticed more so yesterday was, like, if you want to play out from the back like that, which is fine, which is what we all like, we all want to see that. It'll be great when it comes off. But the onus is on the players around him to make space, because what I was finding was, like, Brandon Cooper was dropping in to offer Bender an option to pass to him, but nobody else sort of drops in. So if someone goes and closes down Brandon Cooper, he's got nowhere to go. He's got the ball and he has no one to pass to. I noticed, like, Cabango wasn't dropping in. Manning was pushing out a little bit, probably naturally because he's a left back. And then you may be relying on, like, Grimes to have a late run in to come and take it off the keeper. But I noticed that there was sometimes where he did have no options to pass it to, and the onus is on the players that he has at least 3 or 4 options to pass to, so they can move it out quicker.
Yeah, no, that's right as well.
So it's not always his fault. You're kind of putting the ball in the goalkeeper's feet, and then you're saying, right, find a pass, but there's nobody there.
Yeah, and that's again added to my point, really. What I'm saying is, it's not... One day that is probably going to result... Like, Woodman had a goal conceded against Bristol last season when he dilly-dallied on the ball too much and they went in as a result of it. Very likely it might happen again to Bender this year, and I'm just saying it's not necessarily fully like, right, that's Bender's fault, let's go and hound him on social media. There's obviously a lot more to it. There's, like, should the manager be looking at the pressure in that situation a different way? The players need to give more options. The stuff that is contributing to and what can help us improve in those situations. But he could have passed it out quicker yesterday, but it's all part of the learning experience. It is 2 league games in at the end of the day.
I mean, it's so early on as well. I mean, I quite like it at the moment. You may feel different if it's still like that, halfway through the season and we need points and stuff. You might be like, oh my god, like, this is really starting to get on my nerves, but it's going to get better. I'm quite confident saying that it's going to get better, and I quite like it. I got to be honest, I quite like Bender's confidence. He's almost arrogant.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's his first, like...
Yeah, I got a lot of time
isn't
for it. He's like, sometimes he comes out, doesn't he? Like, where you think, why the hell is he coming out?
I've seen someone saying, like, someone was kicking off on Twitter being like, oh, you're not Neuer, get back in your box.
Yeah, but like, he
is German. Maybe Neuer's his idol.
But maybe that's why he's picked him, because he's got that edge. You can see even when he makes a mistake, he's not, he doesn't even say like, oh, yeah, and he doesn't even say like, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. He's just, let's just get on with it. He's always got a bit of a swagger, isn't he? I like him. I do.
Yeah, a tall keeper. He's quite intimidating in a one-on-one, and he's a good shot stopper. And he proved that later in a match when McGoldrick was through on goal, put through actually by Ollie McBurnie. A one-on-one, and that should be a goal. That was a
cracking save, that was.
And a cracking save. He rushes out to McGoldrick and manages to dive because McGoldrick tries to put it around him and puts it out, tips it, literally fingertips it just wide of the post. He didn't know at the time the offside flag actually came to the rescue anyway. However, we've just watched the match before we watched the highlights before we've done this podcast, and he was not offside. That was not offside. So if that had gone in, there would have been questions after the match because...
I didn't think he was off at the time because I was kind of in line with that. And when it was played through, I was like, he's onside. My first reaction. And then when I watched it back, he was onside. But in all fairness, it didn't matter anyway because he'd been a cracking save.
So Jake Bidwell basically played them onside. Played him onside. He was the only one, but surprising because Bidwell he was our second furthest forward player on the heat map after Jamal Lowe, which is crazy.
This one thing I wanted to talk about, like, you could see what he did in like the first sort of 15 minutes of the first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half. Ladabodier and Bidwell were higher up than Cullen and Patterson. They were on the halfway with Lowe. It was like a front three, and they persisted with it as well.
When we broke, then the two wing backs would go wide, and the other guys would cut inside.
Yeah,
I think I was finding.
I couldn't believe how high up they were though, and they were persisting with it. Even when we lost the ball, they weren't getting very far back either. But that was sort of the first 10-15 minutes of each half, and then he did sort of drop them back then a little bit into more of a wing back position.
Yeah, I think what it's going to be like going forward is the two centre backs are going to cover each side.
Yeah.
So I think they did that well yesterday, but they're not going to get too far forward. I said centre backs, I meant centre midfielders. Sorry. So like Grimes and Downs yesterday, if Bidwell and Latbourne are pushing on, they're gonna maybe in the centre of the pitch, but they will be a little bit deeper. So if the ball does change, the counter's on there, they're able to sort of cover.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's I'd take words out of Martin's mouth again. He said, we're 2 weeks into a process, so it's all just everybody's fitting into the new roles, aren't they? But I'm quite excited. I really enjoyed the performance yesterday, even though it was 0-0. I know people will say, we didn't create much in the final third, which is fair because we didn't, but that's going to come, isn't it? You're looking for combinations of players. He probably still doesn't know his proper starting 11 yet, and players are still going to come in the transfer window. So we're not actually going to see the full sort of process probably until like October, November time.
Yeah.
Where he's got like the combinations that he wants.
And this is what I said. I said to make a judgment on how this is going at Christmas time. The best judgment is going to be the first half of the season, end it there, compare the second half of the season. Is there a progress? Are we getting more points for that half of the season? That's where the real signs are going to show. And you've got to give it the time at the end of the day. It's not, you can't decide yet. It's too soon. A couple of other highlights then. So there's not really, we didn't have an awful lot of opportunity to talk about. Sheffield, as much as they had the best chances, nothing massively significant.
Well, it was only the McGoldrick one where he was onside and Bender saved, and then he had the header in the second half that he was stretching for backwards. But apart from that, they didn't have many chances
like from edge of the box in the first half, which they didn't get on target. They didn't really test Bender. I think the only time they tested Bender was that one, which was offside in the end. That's what I would. The only one I would say really tested the goalkeeper. Not saying we tested the keeper either, because we didn't.
No, we
didn't. In terms of the players then, so Brandon Cooper, I want to highlight him because his first league start for us, a long time coming, but I can't see how he now gets dropped because I know everyone's raving over Rhian Manning and he had a really good game, but I thought Cooper was the best of the back three for me. And
Yeah.
there's a reason. The reasons for that is like you got to think of the experience, the context of it. He's coming in. He's in the middle of the three. He's the youngster there. It's his first league start for the club, and it's against Sheffield United, who the squad that played for Sheffield United started in the Premier League last year. Like every single one of them, I think.
Yeah, I forgot how good their squad was.
No new signings there, is there?
I know, not that I can think of, but they didn't lose anybody either, did they?
One
their squad,
player, but I don't even know who that was.
I forgot how good their squad was yesterday when I seen the starting lineup and the players coming off the bench.
Sander Burge is like, I don't know how he's still there. We know all about their strikers because we would love to have two of them back at the club. There's quality all over the pitch there. So Brandon Cooper though, fantastic. Like in terms of this new style of play, it looks like he is the one that is going to allow us to play from the back the best. And it's so weird to say that because he's the one coming into the team from the youth academy, and he's literally the most comfortable on the ball. He was running out with the ball at his feet. He's playing like long balls when needed to, up to Bidwell quite often, and they were really good quality. He would drive through the middle. If we were like halfway line, for example, he would sometimes run up with the ball. He's always offering himself to the goalkeeper. He was always offering himself to the other two centre-backs when they weren't really sure where to go. I just thought very composed, very cool, it looked like he was experienced, like I said, more so than Cabango. And in regards to like later on in the match as well, McBurnie came on, and McBurnie was his usual self, being a bit of a bully. They had a bit of, bit of handbags, if you like. I'm sure there was an elbow in there from Brandon Cooper. I'll be honest, I'm sure he elbowed McBurnie in the face, and the ref didn't see it. McBurnie was like outraged by it. I could see his reaction, and fair play. I mean, you don't expect that. That's like Bonucci or Chiellini in the Euros sort of defending, innit? Getting away with something like that.
I was really impressed with him. He's so confident, like beyond his years, to be fair. But that's probably coming from the coach and the team, just getting that confidence into the players, because he was class. And I don't know what he did to McBurnie, but he wasn't on that long, McBurnie. But his head was gone. He was all over the place, sulking, pushing around.
Didn't he? Like they had like a bit of an argument or a bit of after.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. Cooper was sort of getting ready to take the free kick in the corner, and McBurnie just ran up to him and pushed him. So he definitely got into his head.
Was he like saying time wasted or something?
No, it wasn't, because like Danda was coming onto the pitch at the time, so the sub was still coming on, and he went over and just pushed him.
Maybe they were saying some, I don't know, a little bit in each other's ear there. But
I
could see like McBurnie definitely lost his head, which I was surprised at. He couldn't get in the game. I think that frustrated. He probably wanted to score, didn't he, against his former club, and he wouldn't get anything. He didn't get a look in. I actually pulled up his stats yesterday when I got home. He was on for 31 minutes and he only touched the ball 11 times. 50% pass and accuracy, 3 out of 6 passes. He did play that one key pass, which was the one through to McGoldrick, which was offside. And he won pretty much all of his headers, bar 2. But other than that, possession lost 6 times. He only touched the ball 11 times and he lost the ball 6 of them. Like, he didn't have a good game when he came on.
No, I think there was an element there. I think, though, would they have played together in the under-23s, Cooper and McBurnie, or was he a bit younger?
He might be a little bit younger, or I don't know, because you had like Keston Davis and
I didn't. Ian Harries as well would have been in there as well. Yeah. But I was thinking like
you would have known him though. He would have been around like the academy.
I was just hoping that there was something there that maybe they didn't get on when they were in the academy or something, and there was a bit of. But I probably not.
Well, it might have been like something. Who knows? But there was definitely something there. But I'm going to say it. I think Brandon Cooper had McBurnie in his pocket.
He did. Yeah,
I think he did. I know you want to talk about Ryan Manning.
I just thought he was class. I agree. I think Cooper was good as well, and it was 50-50 for me for man of the match. But I would have edged it to Manning, especially in the last. He was comfortable playing out of position. He played really well, but especially in the last 20 minutes, some of the tackles he made, like in key positions, like sort of in and around the box, and you're thinking like, oh, don't dive in and give away a penalty. He put so many good tackles in, but just taking the ball cleanly. Yeah. But I just thought he was really good in that channel, in between him and Brandon Cooper. I just thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, he was really good. The only thing I would say that I did notice a couple of times, he needs to like, and it's fair enough because he's not a centre back, he don't really play there. But when Cooper might have been like better under pressure, needs to look at like where can I play the ball. he's there on the left, but he needs to go more to the line, because like there'll be someone in the way. And there was one time where Cooper tried passing it to him and it got intercepted, but it's because Manning not going as wide as what you could, stretch the pitch out as much as you can to allow them passes. But that's just a positional thing where I'm sure that will come.
We touched on that, didn't we, about having options. If you want to play out from the back, you've got to make the angles for them to get it out, and you've got to have the options there. So someone can pick up the ball and find someone straight away to get out. I noticed yesterday as well, so just because you reminded me, so you see so much more when you're in the ground and you can sort of see what's going on. But I get why he wants to play out from the back like persistently, because if there was occasions where we were just sort of pumping it forward, it's so much more pressure on you, because the ball's just coming back all the time. You hoof it up, they're coming back at you. You hoof it away, they're coming back at you, and it's relentless.
Patterson, Lower Cullen probably aren't going to win the ball either.
No, but it's just like, it is a way of easing pressure in a way, even though obviously some of the moments are a bit nervy, but it is easing pressure, because if you've got a team that's coming at you a bit and you keeping the ball,
as soon as you play through that first line, often there's a bit of space and you can push them back, and all of a sudden they are the ones on the back foot. And that's literally the style of play, isn't it? And the best example of that comes from under Potter, where the goal against the two, actually, there's the one against Ipswich where Selina scores, where we literally played out the corner, and then the one against Man City where Selina scores.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's trying to do, isn't it? Yeah. I will say though, I know like we've played football in the past, but I haven't seen a commitment to making sure we play out from the goalkeeper as much as this. In all fairness, it's a bit more. He's got a bit more sort of focus on that. I know we've played very good football in the past, but I mean, like, we used to have the Ashley Williams diagonal ball, didn't we, every game, every so often, where he would like to do them. But this seems to be more of a.
Didn't know what to do, I think.
Yeah, the Ashley Williams ball to Nathan Dyer was the favourite one, and we could guarantee it every week. But yeah, I think this time more so we're going to be playing out from the goalkeeper so much more.
Yeah,
definitely. It's good, to be fair.
So yeah, Manning, really good game. Like I said earlier, I thought him and Bidwell would have been the other way around. Can't really argue against how they set up. I think if that was the case, maybe Manning's a bit better going forward. I think. He tends to have a little bit more of a shot sometimes, and
could have swapped them in the game, couldn't he? Could have sort of. But
I don't know where his plan is going forward. We'll talk a little bit more about Bidwell a bit later in some news that we got, but maybe there's more to it there. And for me, the other defender then, Cabango. Just quickly, I just wanted to say, like, I'm sure he will learn, but for me, he's out of those three though today. I think Bennett as well is another one that needs to have some adaptation to this style of play. But Cabango as well, like, he definitely struggles more than the others with the ball at his feet. He's a bit slower in terms of his decision making. I think he's a bit slower in general as well with like his pace. He's not the quickest, but he's a tall defender and he does his defending really well, heading up from the box and tackling and stopping the ball coming through. But when we're playing around the back, and I'm sure they picked up on it, they were on him straight away. Like, Brewster was on him straight away, and a couple of times he lost the ball. There was one time he lost the ball and Brewster actually got in. He actually managed to cover it off well enough before anything more came of it. But you can see, as soon as he's lost the ball to Brewster, there's no way Cabango can catch back up to him. If his body's in the way, he can use his strength, but if Brewster's past him, that's it, it's game over. But for me, I think like he needs to work a little bit maybe on his one-touch passing, so when he's under pressure, he can't always take that one touch he needs to then play the pass, because that was causing the problem. And the other thing, he doesn't look up as much. Like, quite often, Cooper will pass it to him, and he would just pass it straight back to Cooper. And Latibodia was in acres of space so many times on the right-hand side. Yeah. He's just not lifting his head up and having a look. Like, and I'm guessing it's just the adaptation to this style of play, because the other side, it would go to Manning, it would go to Bidwell, it would come back to Manning, and that was happening all the time. You get to Cabango, and it seemed to never very often get to Latibodia as much as it got to Bidwell, which I think further forward Latibodia was more involved. He was definitely involved in some triangles up with Cullen and Downs up further up the pitch, but less involved when he was coming from Cabango directly. I think he got better second half, so maybe Russell Martin said to him at half time, but that's definitely something I picked up on.
Yeah, I'd go with that. That's fair enough. Yeah, because there's just times we're stuck in a Latibodia and they're just acres of space, but never seem to find him, like you said. So maybe that is something he's picked up on the right side of that back three. But I think overall, pretty happy.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else who wanted to
I don't want
point
to go
out?
in detail on all of them. A couple of brief things, and then probably I want to talk a bit more about the midfield. But I thought Jamal Lowe, he was making some good runs. He had some good movement, I thought. It's clear to me that Russell Martin's asking our forwards to play on the line of the defence. So he's literally sitting on that front line. But at the same time, because that's the way he's playing, we couldn't get him in the game yesterday. He only had 14 touches of the ball.
Yeah, it was quite
which isn't a criticism of him, because I thought he had a good game and he was making good runs, he was making space for others, but that's something that we need to work on, and that's probably what part of the problem is with our attack. We can't get that forward player in. The same happened when Perot came on. He hardly had a touch of the ball, and he couldn't get involved. So there's something to work on there. He's clearly not. He doesn't want him dropping back. It's quite clear to see that. He wants them on the edge of the line. And there was, just before Jamal Lowe got subbed, one ball that actually got played through, which is probably something they want to do more of. And he was perhaps a bit unlucky not to get a goal out of that. Yeah, so that was just low. I think some people were saying he wasn't doing enough, but for me, that's what he's been asked to do. So
he was playing solely against a back three, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, they had back times. Four, but I don't know if nobody was dropping in as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The defensive midfielder, there was just him and the three defenders a lot of the times. So he was a bit isolated.
Yeah. I think with Patterson, I think he looks quite lively, actually. Maybe he could take on his man a little bit more on the outside, rather than he seems to cut in quite a lot. But then it comes back to what I said earlier. They got the wing backs going wide, and they're asking these guys to cut in a bit more. But I think he's been a good signing for a free transfer. We can't really complain with what he's brought to the table so far.
Yeah, I thought he looked lively yesterday. Definitely looked good on the ball.
I thought Cullen was probably the quietest, especially out of the attack. I don't know though if that's his right position. I just didn't think. Maybe Jan Danda would have been better starting, I'll be honest, especially in that role.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I don't think Cullen can play in that role. I think he's just a 9 by trade, isn't he? I don't think he seemed uncomfortable as well, in the sense that rather than sort of playing in that channel where he is on either side of Lowe, we saw Patterson in the first half sort of getting in behind and trying to get some crosses in, maybe just on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
But with Cullen, when he was picking up the ball, he was always back to goal and sort of going backwards and passing it back into the midfield then, rather than looking to get in behind. So he definitely didn't, for me, he didn't look comfortable in there.
I think Patterson is probably out of the it's nice to see someone pick the ball up and actually want to try and run.
Yeah.
I feel like he does do that, which we haven't necessarily seen a lot of in the last couple of seasons, I would say. But yeah, so I don't know. I think he's still working out his best team, isn't he? So, one sec. Sorry. Whether Whittaker or Danda would have been a better shout for Cullen, I think. For me, I think so. But we'll see now going into Stoke whether he changes things there. And then I just want to say about Downs, obviously very strong, solid debut. I think that's a very good addition to midfield. Arguably, considering the midfield that we had last season, right? So Horahan's gone. He's essentially come in, if it stays as it is. Maybe he's a better fit for the system. I'm not saying he might not be a better overall player or better quality. Who knows in there? That's not for me to necessarily say, especially after one appearance. But from what I saw, he might fit the team better.
I thought he was good yesterday, coming in on his debut. I thought he was good. I thought he played really well, him and Grimes together.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, we'll talk about Grimes later as well, but if we somehow manage to keep Grimes in there, and you've got Downs as well, and Fulton to come back in, and Corey Smith, it's looking a lot more healthier than it was when we did the first video of the season, when we were really sort of worried about our midfield options. But
the whole keeping Grimes thing, I think, is key, and that is the pendulum swings massively based on that. But very good performance for Downs, 90% pass and accuracy on his first appearance, so strong out and in midfield, and he played 90 minutes as well, considering he's been training with the Ipswich under-23s all summer and pre-season. But yeah, Matt Grimes, for me, I thought Grimes was man of the match, because he did so much work yesterday. He was everywhere on the pitch. I just think if he's not there, it would be so noticeable that he's not there. Every single player on that pitch was looking for him to get an attack going. They were all looking for him to play the ball, to try and get something going. He was coming to the defence, picking it up. He was trying to spray it forward. He was on the left trying to pick it up, on the right trying to pick it up. And he looks very, very interested. Like, considering player that's heavily linked with going, he looks so interested. There was one vital clearance as well on McGoldrick, who was just volley.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Smashed the ball into the goal.
Yeah. It was on his foot, wasn't it?
Yeah, he goes for a header, misses the header, and as he's landing, has the instinct to just like kick the ball away. And considering earlier on he'd already got booked for a high foot. I don't even think that was a booking, I'll be honest. He got the ball completely.
Oh, no chance.
And then there was a bit of afters, but like, you can't go for a bouncing ball anymore, was it? But anyway.
Yeah, he won the ball. He wins the ball.
I know. That was never a booking. But yeah, so I just thought Grimes was outstanding. And I think, because some people say he was really good, other people still just don't think he really offered that much. And I think it's the sort of player that people will not realise how much he does until he's gone or he's not there. And that's always going to be the case.
Spot on. We had this issue last year, though, where we were saying, where we were picking out like the bits that he was doing, where a lot of the attacks start with him. He wins so much ball in that pocket. Like we said, even though he's not tall, he doesn't necessarily win headers, but he does enough to put people off, which then allows someone in to come and win the ball, or he wins the ball himself. And we said it last year. He is just that player that like kind of needs to go for him to be valued of what we're missing. I just think he's class.
94 touches and a 95% passing accuracy. Like, I mean, when Leon Britton pulled them numbers out, everyone loved it.
Exactly. And then hopefully, like you said it last season, and nobody wants to admit it. But if we're going to play this playing style, he is the Leon Britton that we need in that. I honestly don't think there's. People don't like it when you compare them, but I think you can compare them. I don't think we've seen any player since Britton's retired or not been in the squad that does that role as well as what Britton does. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
And I think as Britton was an amazing player for us, he was really good, right? But I think sometimes just because of that nostalgia, people don't want to ever compare anyone to that.
And I get that.
I'm not saying Grimes is better or as good. We're in the Championship. Britton was doing this in the Premier League. That's a different ball game. But he is the successor, I think. He's we wanted other people. We had Shelby, we had Jack Cork. Never quite was the same. We got Messer in, I guess. You'd argue maybe with the same sort of role. But Grimes has done it now. This is his 4th season where he's going to be doing this role. Under Cooper was slightly different, and the people that criticised him under Cooper last year, saying he doesn't get involved, don't do enough. Well, now he's got a different manager asking to play this passing football again. He's literally posting the numbers to show he can do what you were criticising him for last year, and he's doing it now. And he is getting us going forward. He is picking his head up and moving the ball forwards, not always backwards pass, which is something else people like to mention. I just think if we can keep him, we predicted where we would finish this season. I would even, from what I've seen so far, and if we can keep Grimes, I wouldn't be surprised if our prediction is lower than where we actually end up. I'm not saying playoffs, but
yeah, I agree.
I think that's the impact.
I haven't got much to add on that, really, on Grimes. I can't sing his praises enough at the moment, especially over the last 2 seasons. He's done it under Potter from left back, and going into midfield, and then he was doing the same thing under Cooper, where we did score some good goals. And I always pick out the one against Millwall where we went like the length of the field. I think he touches the ball like 3 or 4 times in that move, which doesn't get noticed. And in fact, he wins the ball at the start of it, plays it out. The play goes on, he gets it back. He gets it back again, he plays another pass, and then we go on and score the good goal, and that just doesn't get noticed.
Yeah. No, he was great last night. I really enjoy watching him play, actually, and looking for the ball, and the 1-2 he plays around the corner, someone he moves himself as it back, plays. I think he's definitely what makes us tick at the moment, and maybe Downs is what his replacement is if he goes, but I hope he doesn't go, to be honest, because I think we'd struggle to replace him. Anyway, anything else on this game? We've talked about it for a while. I mean, it's the first one we've been to since forever, so it's understandable that we've had a lot to say. Hope people are still listening, I guess.
I enjoyed it. I just think I'm buzzing after the week, really, after the week of Blackburn and Readin and Sheffield United. One win, one draw, and one loss.
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy with it. What I've seen so far. I'm quite excited, actually.
Yeah, same. I'm quite excited, and we got another 2 matches this week to look forward to. Stoke midweek, so if you're home, if you're able to go, even it's at home, so get down the stadium. Another 2 night games this week actually, and then another Friday night away at Bristol. So whoever decided that in the fixture list,
it's going to be absolutely
interesting decision
in Bristol on Friday night. That is just going to be carnage.
I'm sure the police are looking forward to it as well.
Well, I'm surprised it's not a bubble trip, because the last 2 away games in Bristol, well, obviously
yeah, they made them 12 o'clock, didn't they? Because it was carnage.
No, I went to the one early on in Cooper's season. I think Bidwell got sent off, didn't he? And it was 0-0. And there's behind there, when you leave Bristol, when you leave Ashton Gate behind, there's like a park. And every time I've been to Bristol, there's always carnage in that park after the game. Always.
Yeah.
So Friday night, and as we said, I think it's definitely going to be more tasty. Having seen that yesterday, because it's been so long, and you saw Man U and Leeds fans as well kicking off, didn't you? And I think just because of the length of time, I think everybody's got a lot of stored up energy. So that's going to be rocking on Friday night.
Yeah. Well, let's move on anyway. Before we discuss the pre-match for those 2 games, which we probably won't spend as long on, because it's just looking at the team really and what we think might change. Let's have a look at the word on Wine Street then. So this is the section where we're just looking at any news from the past week to discuss basically, and keep everyone informed of what might be going on. Probably a little bit more at this time of year than there might be, out of the transfer window. But we got some things to talk about. We just mentioned Grimes and how important he is to Swansea. And Planet Swans are reporting Grimes is looking set to extend his Swansea stay, with the club moving closer on a contract extension. I don't know how in the know they might be, but I'm sure they've had a good record. They had a good record in regards to. They said about Cooper going, didn't they, before he actually went, within the 2 weeks, and people were questioning them, what are you on about? And then it happened.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But that would be absolutely massive. And I'm being optimistic here, but you don't know if sometimes maybe there was a little bit of interest from Fulham, and then you don't know if agent and player sort of leverage a bit of speculation to get a new contract. I'm hoping that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was actually a lot of interest in him.
Yeah. The way that I see this is, and by the way, Russell Martin has confirmed that there is, I think the words he used were, discussions are happening behind the scenes to see if what we can do in regards to keeping him, or the relevant people are in talks or something like that. He said there's definitely talks going on, and it does make sense because he started him in every game. He's kept him as captain, so he must be confident that he can.
I was going to say he must have an idea that he might stay at least. There's got to be a chance for him to be playing him 90 minutes in all 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't know if he came off against Tuesday, but he started, didn't he? But putting the captaincy on him, I don't know. Yeah, it's looking good, but don't want to get too excited because
I don't want to. 2 weeks time now, when transfer windows ended, if he's still here, then get excited. But what I was going to say is, for me, like you said about agent drumming up interest, I think that might have been the case. But by all accounts, from what I've heard from people I speak to that maybe have some sources, I can't really say, but he was basically going, which was one of the reasons why Cooper didn't want to stay at all. Final nail in the coffin, if you like, with Cooper. There probably was a lot more going on there. Cooper obviously considered him one of his best players. He was his captain. He's the one who made him captain of the club. So, Grimes was one of his main men. Grimes very much looked like was interested in leaving and wanted to go. And Cooper wasn't happy with that. He wasn't happy with the fact that he hadn't been offered or hadn't managed to get him a new contract, or they hadn't tried hard enough to get him a new contract. Whatever his views were, one of the reasons why he's gone. However, I'm thinking, was Cooper one of the reasons why Grimes maybe wanted to go?
That's a massive, massive, massive call, isn't it?
because
you don't know.
Well, all the signs since have sort of led me to think that way, because like all of a sudden Cooper's not here anymore. As soon as Cooper went, it all went quiet about him going. I know he had COVID, but it literally all went quiet about him going. We did that video where we had a rant about the fact that we were letting him go on the cheap, yeah? Which probably looks a bit silly if he doesn't end up going, but whatever, that's what was happening at the time. So we had a bit of a rant about the club not keeping him and not trying to keep him, and him being so important to us, and we should be getting more for him. But it all went quiet after that. Cooper's gone, it all went quiet. Russell Martin's come in. He's obviously spoke very highly of Grimes. They've had conversations. All of a sudden, they're entering contract talks now.
Yeah,
and he's saying he loves it here. He knows what he's got as a club. Him and his partner are settled. They love living in Swansea. All the stuff that Russell Martin said, and he's fully aware of what he's got as a player in the club. That's the words he used.
We don't know if as well, like if Russell Martin's come in and he's seen the way that he's trying to play football, and obviously he's probably given him the assurance that he wants him in there and be part of it, be captain, be the main man in that role, that he might just, like you said, maybe he wasn't enjoying the football as much under Cooper and thought, I want to try and, push on and play the football that I want to play, which is probably at the stage of the career where he wants to do that.
And that was going to be my other point. Like, he did well under Potter. Maybe Cooper, he had 2 years there. They did well in terms of results, but maybe he's not enjoyed it as much. Maybe he's like, he thinks he can be doing more as a player. Russell Martin's come in. He's seen this style. Like we mentioned earlier, he looks very invested and interested the way he's playing. It's not like he's sulking or anything. Like some players, like Downs actually did at Ipswich, their heads go after a bit of interest, and like last season, Downs basically, as much as he was one of their main men before, last season wasn't great for him because there was interest, I think, from the Premier League before. But he hasn't done any of that, and all of a sudden he just looks a bit even more revitalised, if anything, and just, I don't know. I think maybe it's just part of something that there might have been more behind the scenes with the whole Cooper thing, and I've heard people mention, I put this out on Twitter, and they were saying like it was quite noticeable that Woodman was the only one that had a message for Cooper when he left.
I saw that.
None of the other players said anything.
Yeah.
Connor Roberts posted something smirking or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there was a bit of like unrest. We said things changed after January. We said like the playoff final seemed a bit odd. People were saying it was the Palace rumours, but second half of last season, I don't know. Results got worse. The playing got. I'm not saying it is that, but maybe there's a question to be.
No, I know. No, there are. Yeah, well, there are suggestions of that. But then there were times last season where they spoke about how together the squad was, and Ayew used to run over to Cooper all the time to celebrate, and I don't know.
I think Ayew maybe each player can have their own relationship, I guess. But like Connor Roberts got dropped essentially, didn't he? Like 8 to 10 games for the end of the season when they changed formation.
Yeah, he didn't play that much, did he?
So I just don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe there isn't. It's just interesting how all of a sudden it's gone from Grimes is gone to maybe we'll keep him. The other two things are kind of linked. So all revolves around Jake Bidwell, which actually has only come out today. So it looks like Jake Bidwell, he's entering into his last year of his contract as well.
As everyone is.
Yeah, but it looks like there is talks. Apparently they're in talks about extending. However, Bidwell, I think, is on a relatively high wage for our squad now, especially now we take into consideration we've got no parachute payments. We signed him 2 seasons ago where we would have still had 2 seasons left of parachute payments. They probably were hoping maybe we could have got over the line by that point. So when it comes to the new contract now, whether that means I doubt they'll want to increase his wage. If anything, they want to lower it, I'd imagine. The second part of this then is Russell Martin wants new players. He wants a bit of investment, whether that's bringing players in, signing them, or on loans. You need the money for the wages. So it seems apparent, and Swansea Independent are saying that the club has said to Bidwell, we are talking to you for a new contract, that's fine. However, if there is interest with other clubs and they come in with a decent bid that matches all parties, then you're welcome to move on, essentially, because Russell Martin has said he's not fully involved in his future plans at the club.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I mean, I quite like Bidwell actually. I think he's all right. I think he's tidy. He's played well for us. But I think having Man in there, who I'd say there's not a lot between them. There never has been. There's never been a lot of difference between him and Bidwell. If well, and obviously we're just speculating. If Bidwell going means that Grimes stays and another one comes in, then I don't think that's a disaster, really, is it?
No, and in regards to him going and others coming in, yeah, it does free up money. Maybe it goes towards Grimes' contract. Maybe it goes towards players coming in as well. But there's been links. Obviously, we know Ethan Ladd, or Laird. 90% probable at this point. Russell Martin confirmed he was at the stadium last night and that he would be having a medical. And they would be discussing how him coming to the club would work, is what he said in his interview. So it looks like he's coming in. I believe he can play across the defence, like across the back. And the way that Martin's deploying the defence anyway, he seems to be making them all quite positionally fluid where he can, especially the ones that are more capable with the ball at their feet.
Yeah.
So Bidwell, I would say, in terms of the back as well, Bidwell isn't the one that mostly suits the style of football. Cooper brought him in. He suited what Cooper was trying to do. He's not done bad with what we've been doing so far, but I think you could upgrade there. He's just someone that's going to do the job for you. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if he goes. But so Ladd's potentially coming in, but we've also been linked with Max Lowe from Sheffield United, who is reportedly looking at coming on loan. So he went to Sheffield, I believe, last summer, but didn't really play loads in the first team in the Premier League. But obviously he was there or thereabouts. He did get some appearances in the Prem. So it looks like we might be bringing him on loan. Bidwell be going. I guess as a player that Russell Martin thinks suits his style.
Yeah, he sort of touched on it. He touched a bit on it yesterday in his interview after the game on Sky. I watched it again this morning. He did sort of touch on... I can't remember exactly what his words were, but it was like he wasn't going to compromise on the style of play. He was going to bring in players that fit the mould, sort of thing. So for me, that's touching on he's got players in there that probably don't fit the way he wants to play. Not really, can't really say who it is for sure, but like you said, Bidwell is maybe one of them that he doesn't think necessarily fits what he wants. He's bringing in Laird, isn't he? Who can play in that position. You've got Man in. He's moving Latabodier out to the other wing back. So it's just a different interpretation. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, and last thing on this as well. One of the people reporting it is saying Middlesbrough is one of the teams interested in Bidwell. Neil Warnock, which I can see that. You could probably play in that sort of team, a Neil Warnock team.
Yeah, if they've forgiven him for the penalty last year.
Yeah. But they are saying 2.5 million. I'm very sceptical it will be anywhere near that price. I think it will be a lot lower. I think someone else has quoted more 500k, which seems not like not a lot of money. But I think for Bidwell, we had him on a freeze in last year's contract. We can probably replace him within the squad right now. Manning. That's 500k that frees up for wages or whatever, I think. Wages probably, if it's free transfers or loans, I'd imagine. Yeah,
like I said, I feel sort of harsh saying I'd be happy for him to go, but because he's been good. He's been good for us. But like you said, I think if him going means... Grimes staying and, like we said, other players coming in, Manning can slot in there, and Laird coming in, we probably wouldn't really miss a trick. Yeah,
you've always got to, recycle the squad and move players on. Certain players you can accept more than others. I think that's could you sort of argue that, Bidwell as good as he is, and I'm not going to sort of slate him or anything, but good championship player. Yeah.
But not really.
Yeah, I would say he is. He's been around.
Solid championship player. Yeah, championship player. In all fairness, I think he's a good player. But maybe in terms of, if we're looking to go forward, maybe wants to play different football, wants to sort of push on.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one that is on Martin's list to, not be in his plan, sort of thing. But again, I'm just speculating, aren't
we? Yeah. Fair. Yeah, exactly. Right. Let's move on then. Let's move on to the last section, which is, the opposition for next week. So opposition report or whatever. We haven't decided a name on this section yet. We'll try and move on with
Anybody,
this pretty quick.
if anybody
because-
has any names for our
Yeah.
little sections, that'd be handy.
Yeah, go
Something
for it.
catchy.
Would be full transparency here. We're recording this on Sunday. Lee really wants to watch Tottenham against Manchester City.
Yeah. I was keeping an eye on West Ham. They won 4-2 in the end against Newcastle.
That's good for my bet.
It's carnage.
I had West Ham in my accumulator, so I'll take that. Have
I
you got
had
the game
Antonio.
open?
Yeah, I was finished now, but I had Antonio in my fantasy team, and he got an assist and a goal, but he missed a pen as well.
Standard.
So yeah, back to fantasy
still
football.
Decent points to take, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, so let's move on to the opposition for this week. So 2 games to talk about. It's always hard when you've got 2 games to talk about because you want to sort of like talk about the second game based on what happened in the first game. So I guess we'll just talk about what we think is going to happen and then maybe 1 or 2 changes we might make going into Friday. I think we've got to focus on the home game. That's the biggest opportunity. Although saying that, Bristol quite poor this year. Maybe a relegation scrap for them.
I think so. I touched on that at the beginning of the season. That I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah.
This year at Bristol City, and I think they're a little bit not happy because we've taken some of their players away, like Walsh and Corey Smith as well.
Well, they didn't offer him a new contract today, so
and Patterson as well.
Patterson was free though; he was gone.
Yeah, I know. I think yes, obviously their management of their squad, isn't it? But I saw some things on Twitter, like basically Bristol City fans saying that we're just trying to take all their players.
Well,
so I think it just adds to the game. I can't wait for Friday night game. Just Friday night after work, Bristol, class.
So I think I'll rephrase what I said just now because Stoke I think is a hard game. They're doing well. They've had a good start, a win and a draw, but it's at home. That's what I mean. So like maybe Bristol is the one that you could win easier based on current form, but it's away. So depends what you want to look at as the biggest opportunity. Would you say 4 points would be a successful return?
Oh, bloody hell, 4 points would be class. But I'm a bit more negative, and I think that it's another hard week. We're going to have some hard results on the way, trying to sort of play the style of football that we're playing and trying to get new players in. So, 4 points, I'd bite your hand off now, but I think it's going to be a hard week, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Stoke are always going to be Stoke are always tasty when they come down, aren't they?
Let's look at the Stoke game then, because that is the first one. So, team selection for Stoke. I'll have a look at what they picked now for who's been playing for them.
Surridge will be in there, won't he?
Speaking of the Swansea curse, right? So
Wilmot.
We managed to nullify it yesterday. So McBurnie and Brewster didn't score.
Yeah.
2 players, 2 strikers in the same team, and neither of them scored. So does that mean going into the Stoke game?
Yeah, Surridge and Wilmot, 2-0.
And Klukas and Allen.
Oh God, yeah, Klukas.
Nearly half the outfield players are former players.
Yeah, Klukas, remember his celebration before?
Yep. So anyway, Stoke's line up against Birmingham, who they drew 0-0 with yesterday. Oh, that's what we didn't do in the verdict. We didn't look at the rest of the championship. We'll add it on to the end of this quick before we finish. Wilmot played, Surridge played, and Haaland. Oh, and Klukas. All 4 of them played. All 4 of them started, actually.
We'll enjoy that on Tuesday then.
So they're playing a 5-3-2 formation, by the looks of things. Just let me check their other games, because they also beat Fleetwood Town in the Cup. Oh, they didn't play. They played a bit of a different formation in that one. 3-1-4-2 against Readin. First game of the season, they won 3-2. 5-3-2. So it looks like maybe 5-3-2 is where they're going to go. So it's quite regular we come up against 5 at the back these days in the league. This seems to be the way. That's the thing at the moment. Everyone's doing wing backs.
Yeah.
What changes, if any, are you going to make to Swansea's squad then?
Changes? I think he will make changes because of a turnaround. I don't know if Norton and Bennett are going to be fit, depending on what injuries are in there. I'd like to see Perot have a start, to be honest, in the league.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of Cullen, maybe.
Yeah, I think Cullen is the one I think definitely needs to drop out. But I don't know. It depends, because if Perot's coming on, then you've got to put him up top, move Jamal Lowe into the attacking.
But I think it suits him. Like, Lowe can't play through the middle on his own. He's not a striker. So
I think change it so there's two strikers and then Patterson behind them.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, you could have Lowe and Perot up front. Lowe and Perot. Like that.
Yeah, but you could maybe get a catchy song with the ring to it there.
Lowe and Perot. That's sort of throw me off now.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds like Lowe and Behold.
So you want to bring in Perot for Cullen?
Yeah, and maybe you play. You could either play Lowe and Perot up front, or with Patterson behind, or you could sort of play what they did on the weekend with Perot on his own up front with Patterson and Lowe just in behind. So I guess that's what I would do. And I'm assuming that Norton and Bennett won't be fit, so I'd probably not make any more changes apart from that.
I think Patterson drops out because only because and Russell Martin spoke with this after Blackburn. He said he didn't do a pre-season because he was a free transfer.
Yeah,
that's why he's not playing 90 minutes at the moment. And I think he was getting tired towards the game yesterday before he got subbed off. So I think it's just a quick turnaround Saturday to Tuesday. Maybe he'll play again then Friday. But I think maybe Cullen and Patterson drop out, and I would maybe bring in either Whittaker or Dander. It doesn't really matter, I think. But I'd like to see Dander. I would like to see Dander have a run in the team to see if he can do it, so we can make a final decision.
Yeah,
if he can't do it. You know, he puffs hot and cold, doesn't he? So he puffed hot when he was in the team for the Reading game the other day. So let's get him in a team before it's been too many matches again, because he came on late yesterday. I thought he could have come on a bit earlier in the game.
I can't really judge him yesterday. He didn't have much time, did he? But
yeah.
No, I agree. I know I've been critical of him, but he does deserve a chance on the new manager, especially if the style of football is going to suit him.
I think.
And we said before he couldn't play in Cooper's system, so
in Dander's defence, right? So it's the same as Selena. Like, Cooper didn't seem to like that attacking role behind the striker. You could never get it working, and then he stopped using it. So Selena's gone because he threw his toys out the pram and whatever happened there. And Dander's kind of suffering as a result of that too. You would think that he would suit the style of football a lot more.
I know. The only thing though, it's we had Potter came in, didn't play Dander that much.
Yeah, but at the time that was he was still young. His first sort of.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't start in that much. Cooper. I thought Cooper got the best out of him in the first season. Cooper was here because he scored a couple of goals in that first season under Cooper.
But we were playing 4-2-3-1 then.
Yeah, but that was probably the best we've seen of him. And then, Martin's come in, and that's for me. It said a lot that Patterson went straight in, and he was still on the bench the day after.
Patterson's his player, though, isn't he? He's brought him in. I don't think we would ever bring a Patterson in before.
Yeah, Martin, I know, but I mean, he would have had some training with Dander, and he's got to make a decision based on that. And it just seems to be that, he's not going to start him.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'd like to see him have a go.
I'd like to see him have a chance. I'd like to see him have a chance, to be fair.
Still 22, so he's got age on his side. We'll see what happens. This is the season that we will find out. I think if he's having another season of hardly featuring, he's gone in the summer next year.
Surprised if he doesn't go on loan in January if he doesn't play. We should have had a loan move, really, for him to have some more game time.
A loan move. We haven't got a team.
No, I know not now, but I mean, if he's not featuring this year, then I would say send him out on loan in in January, or even sell him.
Yeah. Depending if Norton's back, I would bring Norton back into the team, but I would maybe drop Jake Bidwell, put Rhian Man in on the left.
Yeah,
I don't know actually. Latabodi did okay, but I still think he looks a bit. He's learning that position. I think Norton naturally is right.
Yeah, but I mean, you could put Norton in the back three. No, you'd have to drop either Cabango or Cooper then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we'll see.
Unless you play Norton, Cabango and Cooper with Man in wing back, and
I'd have to keep Cabango in because of the height. Maybe Stoke, I don't know, a bit more physical and stuff. I think important to keep Cabango in, but I can't see any more changes than that, really.
Nah.
And then going into the Bristol game, I think if Patterson does drop out for reasons I said, he's probably going to come back in, form a club and all that as well.
Yeah, we've got to play Patterson, Walsh, and Corey Smith in there.
Well, I don't know if Walsh and Smith will both be back. Maybe one of them will be. I think Smith might, but yeah. I haven't seen much of Walsh to even know how much he's going to offer. Is he like?
We got a lot of players to come back in though. Fulton will be fit for Fulton will be allowed back in on Tuesday.
I think he might get. Well, I don't think he will come straight in. Actually, depends how fit Downs is, isn't it? Because maybe 2 games in 4 days or 3 days is too much for him.
Yeah, so maybe Fulton comes in. I tell you what though, like again, saying about getting excited, we got a lot of players that were missing yesterday. You know, we said Smith, Walsh, Fulton, Bennett, Bolton, Connor Roberts. They've all got to come back into that squad. So, you know, and if he brings a few in as well.
It's just the attack. That's where we got the questions to be answered, because I'm not sure, even if we can't answer them, the personnel, like we had issues with the attack last year. I don't know if all the personnel is there. We've had Perot in and Kyle Joseph now. Kyle Joseph looks like it's probably not going to be, he's not going to be played a lot. I don't think. He's young. He's like 19.
He's going to be the Whittaker of last year, isn't he? He's not going to play.
He'll come on now and again, but he's one for the future. Perot is where we'll see if that makes a difference, but it might necessarily be we need more than just Perot. Oh yeah, we got Patterson as well, I guess, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, okay. So let's have a prediction then for both games.
Oh God. You said 4 points in the week, right? I would bite your hand off for 4 points, but I'm thinking we won't get 4 points in the 2 games. I'm thinking, I don't know. Stoke's a difficult one because it's just always a bit of a bogey one for us, isn't it? Yeah. And Bristol City away, we never seem to get much. We always seem to get a draw, don't we? But I'd take a draw. I'd take 2 draws.
2 draws?
No, do you know what? We're going to beat Stoke. We're going to beat Stoke on Tuesday and we're going to get a point. Let's go optimistic. Screw it. Let's do it.
So, what are you saying?
I'm saying 2-1 Swans on Tuesday.
Okay.
Against Stoke. And I'll go 0-0 against Bristol City on Friday.
Who's scoring for you against Stoke?
Lowe and Perot. That's just the saying now.
Lowe, Perot. I've said against Stoke 1-0, 1-1. Sorry, draw 1-0. And I think it's sad because I can't. Under Cooper, who's starting.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. We just don't know at the moment.
I'm going to say Perot for the goal, and then for Bristol City, I'm going to say Bristol 0, Swansea 2.
Oof. Massive.
And I'm going to say Patterson.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
And Jamal Lowe. That's what I'm saying. So I need to tally up our other predictions to see where the table is. I'll do that this week sometime.
Alright.
But quickly, just before we finish the video, we won't dwell on any specifics, but I just want to look at the overall championship. We meant to do this earlier in the verdict, but apparently we're really bad to doing a podcast in order, so we'll do it now. Fulham are gone top of the league. They absolutely smashed Huddersfield.
That was the standout result for me. We said Huddersfield were going to struggle, didn't we, in our table prediction? They got absolutely
Fulham
smashed.
Fulham had a red card as well. Harry Wilson got sent off. Violent conduct. Tackle, was it? Bad tackle.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but got sent off of Wales as well, didn't
he? Yeah, but I mean, Fulham went down to 10 men when it was 3-1, and they won the 2 goals.
I think Huddersfield are going to massively struggle this year. Yeah, and Derby lost against Peterborough, didn't they?
So there's another one to highlight there. Derby losing to Peterborough. What was the score in that one?
2-1. I think Peterborough scored really late though, late winner. But still, I think Huddersfield and Derby for me 2 standouts that are going to be struggling.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes. Oh no, there it is. Got it. Yeah, 2-1. Peterborough winning. Good win for them coming up from League One. So I know it's early days, but put some mid-table. Like right now, the bottom 3 is Huddersfield, Forest, and Preston.
You said about Preston struggling.
I said Preston losing. Preston struggling. They've lost both their opening games. So who did they lose to yesterday? If I'm trying to skim through.
Well, we could both be right because we both said Derby, didn't we, to struggle,
Hull,
and then I said Huddersfield. Hull was a bad result. But
yeah, that was the first game they lost to Hull, wasn't it? 4-1.
Yeah,
but they lost to Readin yesterday.
But we said, didn't we, that we both said Derby would struggle, and I said Huddersfield, and you said Preston to struggle. So we might not be too far off, but it's early days again, isn't it? I don't know.
Reading bouncing back from their cup defeat. I know they had their first team back, but
it says a lot how competitive this league is because 2 games in, nobody's got 6 points.
No 100% records intact.
No 100% records already.
There's a lot of
2 games in.
teams though. There's 10.
Yeah, I know, actually. But normally you'd think like 2, 3 11. Games, 4 games, someone would have all wins, wouldn't they? Usually at the start of the season, but you never get it in the championship. Nobody's won 2 games already.
So that is actually right from first place down to 10th place. They're all on 4 points. So technically they're all first.
This league is ridiculous, isn't it?
Cardiff are third.
Yeah, they had a good win yesterday, didn't they? Blackpool away.
Yeah.
All fairness. Luton gave West Brom a game. I think Luton are going to be good this year. 3-2 they lost.
And
away.
QPR beat Hull 3-0, so Hull back down to earth. We said QPR ones to look out for. So yeah, they're definitely looking. Sheffield United, though, as we mentioned, not a good start for them coming down from Premier League. 1 point after 2 games, a loss and a draw. But we had Bournemouth bouncing back. That we thought they'd be in contention for the league win. Fulham and West Brom as well, all picking up their first win. So
yeah,
West Brom seem a bit leaky at the back. So they drew 2-2 with Bournemouth, and then they won against Luton, but still conceded 2 goals.
Yeah.
So one to watch. I'm sure they will improve, but they all got new managers, haven't they? So just as much as us, they're maybe in transition with style of play and all the rest of it. Anything else then?
No, that's it for me. I think we're well up and running now. I feel it. We're well into the football season now.
Yeah, looking forward to this week. I did launch. Well, I say launch. We released our predictions. I know it was in one of our earlier podcasts, but if you don't watch all of the podcast, the individual, I clipped out the section where we did the league table. So that's on an individual video on YouTube. So at any point throughout the season, if you want to see how badly wrong we got it, you can go back and check. Or maybe you'll be asking us for the lottery numbers at the end of the year instead.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. But yeah, that's all from me, I think. Nothing else to discuss today.
No.
I can smell my Sunday dinner cooking, so it's getting me quite hungry.
Nice.
I'll tell you what else I did yesterday. I did a TikTok, so obviously after the match, I did a quick TikTok of instant thoughts from the match, so it seems to be doing quite well. So if you like that sort of stuff, immediate sort of content, if you like, and it's quick stuff to do, a little bit of discussion, thoughts can engage with, and let us know and we'll get some more of that sorted as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that then, hope you all have a good week ahead, and we shall see you next time.
See you soon.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to click the like button to help us grow. To keep up to date with all of our new uploads, hit the subscribe button and push the bell to ensure you are notified of all of our new videos. As always, engage in the comments and let us know your opinions on what we discussed today. And if you want to support us directly, check out our new merch where you can find some awesome Swansea related t-shirts.